Okay, so we are live now, Councillor O'Hare. So you'll be acting as chair of this meeting. Um,
Mhm.
just so everyone knows, I know we haven't quite called the meeting to order yet. You can do that shortly, but just we're just at quorum. So if we lose any members, we'll lose quorum. So if anyone has to leave, if you can just let me know, you can enter it into the chat, and we'll just have to proceed accordingly. Hopefully, everyone can stay for the balance of the meeting, though. Okay, Councillor O'Hare, if whenever you're ready.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Nicholas. So I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6:08 p.m. And I'll begin by reading the land acknowledgement. The city of Thorold is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Haudenosaunee, the Hawendarok, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The city of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. All right. And now I'm going to ask, are there any declarations of interest for this meeting? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to move on to adoption of the agenda. Can I get a mover and a seconder for the adoption of the minutes? Okay, I see Councillor D'Angela moving. I need a seconder, please. Oh, thank you, Janice. So we have a mover and a seconder, and I'm going to call the question. All those in favor of the agenda, you can just raise your hand to the new members. Yep, perfect. Thank you. Anyone opposed? All right, that is carried. Thank you very much. And I'm going to now ask for a mover and a seconder to adopt the minutes of our last meeting, September 5th, 2024. I'll call the question. Oh, sorry, first mover to adopt the minutes. Thank you, Janice. And Dennis, thank you very much, seconding. And now I'll call the question. First off, are there any observations of the minutes that need to be changed or any comments that anyone would like to make? Seeing none, I'll call the question. Everyone in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. Thank you very much. So that is passed. I don't see anyone opposing. Everyone's in favor. All right, moving along, we're going to cover the correspondence. And this is the committee appointments. And at the meeting on September 10th, Council appointed Heather McLean, Manju Kumari Pudel, and Terence Shilstra to the committee. So I see that we have Heather and I see we have Terence. Can I invite you, Heather, to introduce yourself, maybe say a couple of words for the committee? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to meet everyone. I am a longtime Thorold resident graduate of Brock University. I'm currently the Director of Programs and Services at Skills for Change in Toronto, where I oversee settlement and immigration programs, and I work with many diverse and underserved communities there. And I also oversee Employment Ontario services as well. I've worked at Casino Niagara. I've been an instructor at Niagara College in the community, and I'm just thrilled to be able to participate in this committee in the community where I live and love. And it's great to meet everyone, and I hope to learn from you and contribute back to the committee. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for putting your name forward, Heather, and joining the committee. It's wonderful to have you aboard. And Terence, I see you there. Hi, Terence. Would you like to say a couple of words?
Hey, Councillor Hare, good to see you. Yeah, my name is Terence Skilstra, and I'm thankful to be here with you all. My wife Karen and I, we live here in downtown Thorold, and we have some children. And I serve as the pastor of the table here in downtown Thorold, and the table has been involved in downtown Thorold for about 8 years, and we're mostly connecting with under-resourced neighbors, cultivating relationships and support. And yeah, it's been a great journey for us as we connect and serve here in our community. I also serve as co-chair of One Thorold, which is a community development movement here in Thorold, and done things like help cultivate the creation of truth and reconciliation team and affordable housing team, the art of neighboring team, and a couple other teams. That's a little bit about me.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you. And I just want to add that both yourself and Heather bring amazing backgrounds and experience to this committee. So welcome aboard. And this is our first year with the DEI committee. So we're kind of learning as we go. And I'll just point out that we are missing today Renee Nand, who's our chair. She had another appointment, so she wasn't able to attend tonight's meeting. And our vice chair, Saba Quasi, is ill tonight. So there's two other members there that you'll meet. And should you have questions, you can touch base with them or Councillor D'Angela as well, or even any other member. Should you have inquiries that you'd like to make to us. So welcome aboard. Moving on to committee business, with both 7.1 and 7.2. First, we'll start with 7.1 policy working group. I think it would be best to wait until our next committee meeting when Renee and Saba are both back, so that we have a full committee to work on some of these ideas that we have already started on, but it would be good to have our chair and co-chair with us. Unless anybody has anything to add, so I'll put it out there. Would anyone like to add anything to the policy working group that we've started upon?
I don't have anything for 7.1, but I think we skipped 6.2.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to leave 7.1, seeing as there is no business to discuss there. And we'll move back to 6.2, days of significance. Those of you who are new, I'm not sure if you recognize, you probably have, that at the end of the package, there was some information that covered both the days of significance for November and the future committee dates, which will be coming up later as well. So if you had a chance to look at the days of significance, I'm just going to put the question to the committee. Are there any comments regarding the dates that were supplied by Niagara Region to this committee? Seeing none, thank you very much, and thank you, Councillor, for pointing that out. So moving on, same with 7.2, work plan, strategic plan working group. So again, we'll have incomplete working groups here. So I'm going to ask that we put this off until our next meeting so that we can discuss it more fully. Any comments or questions there? All right, thank you very much. Then moving on, accessible entrances. We've talked about this in past committee meetings. I've been speaking with Janice about this as well. I had a meeting. Oh, let me just explain what it is for the new members as well. So what it is there's a foundation called Stopgap Foundation, and what they do is they create accessibility into buildings where there are impairments. So ledges that would interfere with a wheelchair or someone with a walker or someone who has difficulty walking. And their goal is to build these basic wedges, is really the easiest way to describe it, that can be placed in front of any business or any city office even, where accessibility is an issue due to a change in height. And this company has been around for a while. They service many municipalities across the country. They're a not-for-profit business. They're really providing a service. And how it works is the business owner or the office people have to put the ramp out in the morning and take it in at night. So it's not left out on the street the whole time. It's really something that's just placed during business hours, working hours, and brought back in at night. Now it comes with 2 carrying handles, and it's made of plywood, so it's not super heavy or anything like that. But that's just to give you the gist of what this is all about. I had a meeting with Serge Carpino, the BIA's chair. We met downtown and we looked at a couple of storefronts where there is this issue of having a ledge, so there is a restriction to some people. And he fully agrees that it would be a good proposal to bring to council. As well, before we get there, though, I'm going to present to the BIA and just introduce them to the concept, explain how it works, and the cost involved in this. So just to give you a ballpark at this point, it's about $300 to $500 depending on the size and the requirements needed for a particular storefront or business. And we thought, speaking with Serge, we thought we could run a pilot project if council agrees to see how it works out and see if it can inspire other businesses, other store owners to get involved and make this something to be addressed and a problem to be solved for the future. So at this point, what I requested from Stopgap was a package of how they work and explaining a few more details about the program. I'm going to forward that email to Justin, I'm assuming, Nicholas, or would you want it?
No, that's fine. You can send it to Justin. That's great.
Okay, and if Justin could forward it to all the members, that would be wonderful. Then everyone would have the information required to understand how this program could move forward. So we're in early stages here, but I think it's a great step to make sure that all businesses and offices in Thorold are accessible. So at that point, if anyone has questions, I'll answer as many as I can at this stage. Great. Okay. Seeing none, I will forward the email to Justin. You can read about it yourselves. I'll present the BIA with the program, and then I think it'll be brought to council if the BIA is in agreement as well, and council can understand the program, and we can see if we can run a pilot project for 2025. Okay, very good then. So if there are no questions on that, then we'll just move ahead. Okay, in that package I spoke about earlier, there was yes, thank you, Nicholas. These are the dates for 2025 DEI committee meetings. Have a look at them, see if there's any conflict with anything that might be occurring at the same time. I looked through them earlier and they seem fine for myself, but does anyone have a comment? Would anyone? Yes, Councillor D'Angela.
Yeah, the only one that I'd be well, it's up to the committee, but I'd see if they're interested in moving September 4th. That comes after Labor Day weekend, which is September 1st this year. I
Mhm.
usually find when there's a holiday, that week gets compressed with a lot of activity. So I don't know if it might be wise just to move it back one week. And this way it's a little easier, also for staff, right? Because they're not working on Labor Day weekend. If they have to get any information out or any questions followed up on the agenda. So, but again, I'm just posing that I would prefer myself. I think September 11th would be a better date. But if the rest of the committee wants it the 4th, or we can make that work. But I just figure sometimes holiday weeks are a little more cumbersome for a lot of us.
Yep. Thank you very much, Councillor. I think that's a good observation. Nicholas, can I pose that to the committee, or how do we move forward?
Yes, so let me just stop my share here. So it hasn't been put on the floor, the motion as it's worded there with September 4th. So, I mean, rather than doing an amended motion, I can change the 4th to the 11th, and the committee, you can move and second and vote on that if you like. I don't know if there's any other feedback before I do that, but so we're looking at September 11th, correct?
Correct. Does
And
anyone from
well, that's why I say I just threw it out there. So if anyone has a comment on it, please feel free to comment. It's not cast in stone.
All right. Well, I'm seeing no one commenting. So if you would like to change that to the 11th, Nicholas, I think that would be very good.
Okay.
I'll move the recommendation to set our dates for next year.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Is there a seconder to go with the motion? I'll need a seconder. If someone will raise their hand.
I do.
Okay, thank you, Terrence. Thank you very much. And I'll call the question. Is everyone in favor with the following dates for the 2025 DEI committee meetings? All in favor? And I see everyone there. Thank you very much. Okay. So that is passed. That's our dates for next year. And now we're coming to roundtable discussion. So I'll just go across my screen as I see people's names. And this is a point for the new members. If you have anything that you'd like to throw out there, something that you'd like to share with the committee, by all means, this is an opportunity to do that. So Heather, do you have anything you'd like to add to or for the committee?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Terrence, do you have anything to add?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I just have two questions. And essentially, my questions are, I like to lay them before the team and just ask if the questions are within the purview of this team. Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Again, I'm just joining the team, and I'm trying to navigate, what's in the purview of this team, and my being part of it. The first question that I have is that my wife and I, we have a visually impaired neighbor that we're quite connected with, and are good friends with, and we learned recently that she has extreme difficulty. She's grown up in Thorold her whole life, has extreme difficulty navigating the crosswalk at Pine and Sullivan, given the recent changes that have been made to that crosswalk. And we're wondering, yeah, if that is in the purview of this team. And then the second question is, back in June the 7th, the Thorold City Council declared a state of emergency on homelessness, and the issues of, lack of housing in our community. And I am also wondering, is it, what's the role of our team in relationship to just checking in with, city council and city staff around, what steps have been taken to address the challenge of affordable housing in our community. So just two questions before the team.
Okay, so I'll start with the first question regarding the crosswalk. That corner has been a bit of a disaster, if I can be so blunt. And it's probably going to get worse now that the McDonald's is about to open up. So absolutely, we can discuss this as a committee and make recommendations. There's going to be changes there. I can't say exactly how the crosswalk or the situation there will change, but we certainly can discuss it. And perhaps, Nicholas, I don't know if we want to make a note and bring this back to the committee for the next meeting and maybe just start some discussion on it. But certainly, if there's some suggestions and ideas, that would be exactly up our alley to bring back to council and to make recommendations there. So yeah, so that's that one. Councillor, I see your hand. I just want to ask, is it based on, is the question on the crosswalk as well, or on the next item?
Yeah, well, yes, I sort of want to correct you a little bit. That question regarding the crosswalk should really go to the Road Safety Committee. They're the ones that are dealing with that. They're the ones that implemented the change or recommended that to council. So any committee could talk about anything at any time, but if you really want to focus it in, that's the committee that's actually making those changes. And to highlight it a little bit more, they were actually going to make permanent changes there. And one of the points I brought up is don't do anything permanent. They were going to actually make curbs and widen everything where the paint lines are. So I was able to steer that committee a little bit more into temporary measures, only because there's going to be some alterations with the traffic flow pattern. And also we're looking at doing some capital works along that area. Eventually a stoplight will go there, and that's something council is looking at. So I would really think that this, Terrence, like that discussion should really be at the Road Safety Committee, because they're the ones dealing with that. Because if you bring a motion from this committee regarding a Road Safety Committee, and then the Road Safety Committee is going to be making another motion, the committees are not working very effectively and efficiently, and if that were the case. So I think that's more where it should be directed. And the reason I say that, I sit on that committee, so I know we work on stop signs, we work on accessibility, we were making sure sidewalks have receivers and senders. So we're working on a lot of that stuff at that committee level. And our next they were supposed to have a meeting yesterday, but there wasn't quorum. But I believe we're looking at having it at November 20th. So the timing's good to at least put some input into that intersection if you have some at that committee. And you're welcome to come and speak at that committee too. There's nothing that will stop you from that. Hopefully that helps the situation a little bit.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. I'm going to disagree with you as well. I think it's part of our purview here to discuss, especially anything that has to do with diversity and equity. This can be an impairment to this resident, and I think this is exactly what we deal with here. So Terrence I'll still recommend to the clerk, to Nicholas, to bring it back to Renee next week, and we can discuss it And perhaps even if it's just a recommendation or suggestion to the Road Safety Committee, then we can also let them know without having to interfere with what their work is being achieved. So I think it's important for us to also discuss this. So thank you for that one. The second one, the homelessness, now that's a Niagara region area, Terrence. So there isn't a lot that the city of Thorold directly can do. Having said that, we are working with another group, and perhaps you know about it, I'm sure you do, to try to achieve more housing here in Thorold for a different group who don't have accessibility to housing. At this point, there's nothing that we can speak about because nothing is cast in stone, but it's in the works, and hopefully at some point in the future, we'll be able to announce some steps moving forward to create some affordable housing, because as you see and know, this is an issue that isn't going to go away. So it's good to have this certainly discussion all the time and make sure that we're aware of the situation and trying to see what we can do to help resolve it. So that's as far as that new housing development is being moved forward. There's not a lot that we can say at this point. Councillor, do you have something to add there?
Yeah, I just wanted to add further that yes, it is a regional issue, but from a local standpoint, we try to create our framework with our policies, such as development charges from a municipal standpoint. Like those are waived for affordable housing type projects. So we do what we can from a municipal level in trying to encourage that and make it more affordable. That's one example. The other one is when we work with developers, we also try to get them to put a portion of the new development into more affordable housing or attainable housing than just building, $1 million semis. So that's something we always try to strive for, working with our development community. So from that perspective, we try and attempt through our policies to garner that. And we are working on a site-specific one with some city-owned land. With a Thorold group trying to get that arranged to additional affordable housing. So limited to the sense that we can only affect the city policies, but we still also pressure the federal, provincial, and regional governments in terms of making sure Thorold gets its fair share of funding for affordable housing.
Thank you, Councillor.
If we could, Mr. Chair, I want to say a heartfelt thank you for your response and for your response to Councillor D'Angelo. Again, yeah, these things have been on my heart and my mind, and I just thought I'd raise them here in this team, and thank you for your response. So,
thank you very much. Dennis, do you have anything to add to the roundtable?
I don't have anything at the moment.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. And Janice?
Just the one issue that I wanted to bring up, and it relates into the homelessness issue that we're experiencing here in Niagara, is the food scarcity problem. And I know that a lot of the food banks have been, really trying to keep up with the demand. I was just wondering if there's anything that we can do as a committee to either try to raise awareness or, to have an initiative where we're getting some of those donations to help out. I just wanted to kind of raise that and see what everyone's thoughts were there.
Thank you. Thank you, Janice. That's a great point. When Renee is back next meeting, perhaps we can bring that to her as well. I do believe that Renee will have an opportunity to come and speak to council as well, which always helps. And perhaps we can draft something as a committee that could be published to businesses or to other community projects that may be able to assist and help. But great idea. Heather?
Thank you, Councillor O'Hare. I actually was fortunate to work at the Mississauga Food Bank for 2 years in food insecurity, and I was a program manager there as well. My suggestion here is possibly to reach out to Community Care of Thorold and see if we can connect with their leadership and perhaps invite them to our next meeting to come and speak and find ways that we could support them or collaborate with them. You know, what are the top issues that they're facing, and how can this team work together to communicate that, share it in the community, and see if we can support in any way.
Yeah, very good, Heather. Many times the city of Thorold works very closely with Community Care. It's a great organization, and when we put on events, we often request donations and continually are trying to support them in as many ways as we can. So they do wonderful work. They can always use more help, and it's a very good observation there. So thank you, Heather. Okay, Nicholas, did you have anything to add?
Oh, Councillor D'Angelo, if you can go ahead. I'll speak after.
Okay, thanks. I just want to add
Did
a
I
little
miss
bit.
you? My apologies. My apologies.
No, not a problem. Not a problem. Just regarding Thorold and St. Catharines Community Care, we have a generous anonymous donor that donates food, and we have food giveaways. We've been doing that. Councillor Hanley, myself, and Councillor DeRose have been working very closely with him in how to distribute that food, and it working with Community Thorold and St. Catharines Community Care. So if there is another event that comes up, if any of the members would like to join and volunteer and help on that day, the last one, what we did is we prepackaged the food and then it was delivered. The previous ones, we had them come and pick it up, but it was getting a little out of hand. I don't know if you've heard of it, but the traffic was extremely bad. People were coming from all over the place. So we're trying to do a better job of targeting those that really need the food. And that's where we got closer a connection working with Thorold and St. Catharines Community Care. That's where the deliveries went specifically to homes that really need that, as opposed to sometimes people just came for food. But if there's another opportunity coming up, I definitely would inform this committee members if they'd like to come out and volunteer. It's a fun time, and you know, last time we did it at the old city arena parking lot, and it was fun. So it's a couple hours, you pack the stuff, it gets delivered, and you know, we're helping those that are less fortunate in our community with some of the food that's very important. And the anonymous donor has actually been great in terms of his food selection and making sure that the food groups are targeted so that they get like last time they all got a ham, which was a large. So getting protein of that size is very expensive. So that really helps the families out. So we hope that he'll continue to do that in the future, and I'll let the committee know at when it's announced and for additional volunteer support.
Great. Thank you. Heather, is that another comment?
I don't want to overtake Nicholas, but just as a follow-up question to Councillor D'Angelo, if I may, in regards to the food donations, I was just curious about what we're seeing as far as the demographic breakdown here in Thorold, especially with international students, and when it comes to the food offerings through food donations and whatnot, thinking about culturally appropriate food as well, like some, you know, folks can't eat ham, for example, like based on their religious beliefs. So just that's always a lens I try to look through. And so I'm curious, that may be a whole other conversation, but just thought I would ask anecdotally what you know about that. Thank you.
I just want to make sure that, like, there's been chicken, there's been other meats. I just use that as an example. Like there is working closely with the Community Care. They work with them to make sure that the donor donates foods that they may be short of or something that they don't have, like lots of peanut butter, like there's other proteins in there. I just use that one as an example, but I'm hoping, I haven't specifically talked to Community Care about the cultural different foods, but I think that's a good thing to ask them next time, so we have a better understanding. So the donor will make sure that there's a good selection there. There's a good variety, lots of fruits and vegetables, a lot of the basics, right? So hopefully that answers your question.
If I could, Mr. Chair, I just want to affirm the two things that Heather said. One, she earlier in conversation she mentioned inviting community care. I think that Maxine Hutchins, the director of the Thorold branch, would be a great value to us, particularly in the area of thinking about diversity, equity, inclusion. We know that we know that certain groups are disproportionately affected, by things like poverty and food insecurity. And then, and with regards to the sharing foods, I think that's a good thing to be attentive to is, people and neighbors like the international students or even our neighbors who have recently moved from other countries who might be looking for foods to fit their dietary needs. And just a comment, we do have the director of international student ministries at Brock University who lives in the border of Thorold, and I'm sure she would be more than happy to give us feedback on any insight that we can improve that offering to the community.
Thank you, Terrence. I see Janice has her hand up.
Oh, Janice, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. So my question was, are the donations typically food donations, or are they monetary donations that then can be used to decide what type of food is purchased? If we know.
Janice, are you referring to the anonymous donors donation?
Yeah.
Yeah, typically he donates a transport of food. So
Okay.
it'll be crates and crates of peppers and eggs and milk and a variety of potatoes, all sorts of things, produce that's in season at the time as well. So that, and it literally is a transport truck full. So it's quite a day when we're out there sorting and delivering. And as Councillor D'Angelo says, it's a little bit of work and stress, but it's very, very rewarding and fun.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great suggestion to bring it back to the committee and announce when the next one's happening.
Yep.
And volunteers can come out.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll definitely be there. Yeah.
Okay, super. All right. What was I going to comment on? Oh, yes. Nicholas, is it possible to invite Maxine to our January committee meeting from Community Care, or is that something we should wait for our chair to come back and make that decision together with us?
Yeah, we can definitely check with the chair, just so Renee is aware.
Okay.
And then we can extend an invite. We have our dates set, so we have other potential dates as well that we can maybe facilitate that. So yeah.
Great. All right, super. Okay then, no other comments from roundtable? Okay, seeing none then. Our next meeting is going to be held on January 16th. And now, there being no further business, I'd like to adjourn this meeting at 6:46. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bye,
have
everyone.
a good evening, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.